Hello, fellow watchers. Mornings with Mike for information and educational purposes only. Today, we got a little learning lesson on board. And before anything else happens, let's share the screen. Take a look at our heat map. It actually is a little bit of a heat map after our chill map yesterday. Um, Apple's AI really bounced the stock today. Microsoft is up. Uh, Things were all over the place, and then at the last half hour, things started to move up. So this is NVIDIA's up. Broadcom, which got into yesterday. I sold 3 of the spread options as they were at the peak, and then I kept one of the calls naked. So in hopes of converting that to the actual shares. I believe it's at $1,138. May have gone a little higher into the 40s. Google and Meta bouncing back. Almost everything is bouncing back. Amazon bouncing back. And lesson that I learned about intuition, I'll share with you as well. So that's that. And if you don't want to worry about the ebbs and flows, let me share our screen. Suggests this annuity where 85 to 90% of people believe should be in an annuity. Never lose money. When it goes up the step, it does not come down the step. Keeps climbing the step until you're ready to take your income from it. It beats index investing by about 5%, 12.58 to 7.57. How do they do this? They give you a bonus when you put in new money into an annuity, and then they give you strong returns after that, getting this 12.58 annual return. So let's go to the charts. So before we get started, there's a couple of charts in my little booklet here I get for selling strategies. This is Mama's Creations. It's in the food and meat products area. Focuses on marketing specialty prepared, frozen, and refrigerated foods for sale in retailers. Has a nice little cup pattern here, kind of bouncing around right now, is up 1% today. Earnings are supposed to increase 150% this year and another 7% next year. So that's the story there. So let's our dollar and bonds keep bouncing up. Here's the dollar, just up slightly, 3 cents, still above the 20-day moving average. Silver did bounce a little bit this morning. Take a look at gold. Gold bounced as well. See what copper did. Got a little bounce there. Arrow copper did not bounce. FCX did not bounce as well. Vale did not as well. BHP got a little bounce. And finally, Rio. We got a little nice gap up there. That's a pretty good move, 1.42%. And let's go take a look at our bonds. Bonds just keep going up. Question is whether they will hit their head on the declining 50-day moving average and retreat a little bit. Well, tomorrow will be a good indicator, but it's got a pretty good move up here. And initially, it had some pressure on the stock indexes, and they decided to go up anyway. The 20-year is butting its head up against declining 50-day right now. It's at 3.38%, I guess. And what do we got here for interest rate on the bonds? We got 4.14%. So there we go. Take a look at the VIX. The VIX didn't move higher. It's interesting. Moved up to the middle of the range where it closed yesterday and then pulled back, kind of filled this gap. S&P 500. We got a little pullback to the 10-day. Did move up in the morning. I guess that's why the VIX pulled back. And then it raised up to 0.89%. Equal weight on the S&P 500 moved up pretty strong, up 0.51%. The NASDAQ gapped up and then kept going strong, 1.42%. News out of Taiwan Semiconductor lifted all the semiconductors today. And and the equal weight up 1.15%. IWM, believe bounced as well. Bounced off of the 50-day moving average. And Dow Jones was up slightly as well, up 0.56%. So let's go to the news. Officials from the U.S. Treasury are going to meet with Chinese counterparts in Beijing Thursday. Meeting aims to address and discuss economic and trade-related issues between the two countries. The bull-bear spread in American Association of Individual Investors, AAII, weekly survey was 13.6 versus 24.4 last week. Bulls fall to 40.4 from 48.6. Neutrals rise to 32.9 from 27.2. Bears rise to 26.8 from 24.2. Now on our news of the day, this really kind of was kicking myself. My intuition said to sell before earnings yesterday, at least something, and I didn't. And so I paid the price. I sold right around 45. And I wanted to buy ARM, so we can take a look at what ARM did today. So yes, listen to your intuition. Excuse me. And we go back to the news. On Birkenstock did not meet their earnings. Came a little less than expected. Q4 EPS of 14 cents. Misses estimates of 14 euros. 14-cent euros. Misses 17-cent euros. Expects to hit financial 2024 adjusted EBITDA margin from steeper costs related to investment of global store expansion. So there we have that. Company Richmond ADR manufactures and retails luxury goods. Now let me roll this a little bigger so I can read it a little better. Said its sales rose to 5.59 billion euros, $6.09 billion in the quarter, ahead of market expectations. Of the luxury retailer enjoyed a surge in sales in China last quarter. On to energy, industrials, and materials. Alcoa, Q4 EPS was a loss of 56 cents versus estimated loss of 86 cents. Still did not please investors as it was down 1.5%. Boeing shares edge higher this morning after Indian Airlines, Alaska Akasa Air says it has ordered 150 Boeing 737 MAX narrow-body planes. This is the first major order for its MAX jetliner program since the mid-air cabin panel blowout. BHP, which we just looked at in metals, reported 2.2% drop in Q2 iron ore production due to impact of ongoing ramp-up of the Central Pilbara hub, said iron ore production from Western Australia on a 100% basis was 72.7 million tons in the 3 months of December 31st, down from 74.3 million reported a year ago. H.B. Fuller, also known as Fuller Brush, initially sold off and then picked up towards the close, up 1.73%, Q4 adjusted EPS $1.32 versus estimate of $1.27. Kinder Morgan, Q4 adjusted EPS 28 cents versus 30 cents, and it sold off pretty hard down to the 200-day moving average and then bounced. Mercury Systems Inc. said on January 12, 2024, they approved and initiated a workforce reduction that will eliminate approximately 100 positions, and sold off, tried to rally towards a close. ONIOC authorized $22 billion share repurchase program, increased its quarterly dividend by 3.7% to 99 cents, and things rose spectacularly over 3% on that news. Plug really fell hard after their $1 billion stock security shelf. Once again, people don't like to be diluted. That's quite a dilution. PG&E, Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant in California, the Department of Energy said on Wednesday, I think the administration of President Joe Biden has finalized $1.1 billion in credits for PG&E's nuclear power plant, and didn't help their stock any as it went down. Financials, Discover Financial System. Financial services dropped 10.8%. Q4 EPS $1.54 versus estimate of $2.50. Yes, that will definitely drop things down. Key Corp down to their 50-day moving average and 4.62% down. Quarterly EPS 3 cents versus estimate of 23 cents. Yes, that's a big miss as well. Prudential Financial said as of December 31st, 2023, assets under management, AUM, of the PGIM segment were $1.298 trillion, and that didn't help their stock much. It was, I guess you could say it was pretty close to flat. Truist Financial, Q4 adjusted EPS 81 cents versus 89 cents. Initially sold off and then battled back with a slight gain of 20 cents. On to healthcare. Humana, gap down 8%. Shares dip after forecast of full year adjusted EPS $26.09, forecast of at least $28.25 versus estimate of $28.27, says unable to offset higher than anticipated medical costs. So there you have it. And then finally on to technology, media, and telecom. The news on Apple that I had mentioned earlier, upgraded to buy from neutral at Bank of America with a price target of $225, up from $208, as the firm sees stronger multi-year iPhone upgrade cycle driven by the need for the latest hardware to enable generative artificial intelligence features to be introduced in 2024 and 2025. And finally, Taiwan Semiconductor, which really drove the semiconductors today, said it sees more than 20% growth in 2024. Revenue on booming demand for high-end chips and artificial intelligence applications. For advanced packaging, demand was very strong, and TSMC can't offer enough capacity to support its customers, which will continue into next year. Forecast capital spending at 28 to 32 billion for this year, in line with 2023, posted a 19% drop in net profit for October to December quarter. And that's the news in Taiwan. And we can take a quick look at semiconductor index. Gapped up and finished at the top. I got rid of ARM and moved into Broadcom. I put on 1120, 1130 option. When I went to 1131, I closed 3 of the spreads and kept the one open in hopes to convert. And it looks like it's going to break out here. It's up 3.65% today. NVIDIA keeps going up the steps. And Intel did not move too much. And here's ARM. Wish I would have listened to my intuition yesterday. So there's that. And then I was trying to protect my portfolio with the loss in BIRK, and ELF was the other one that was down. ELF was down because they got moved. They got a promotion, so to speak. They got moved out of the S&P 600 small cap growth into the mid cap growth S&P 400. And that's why I kind of sold off all those small cap funds were selling and buying BTU, which replaced ELF, and it moved up quite a bit. And as we know, coal is the number one sector in 197 of the sector where all the stocks are associated, and it's possibly put it on your watch list. I'm not sure if it broke out, but it's pretty nice. Here's another one, Warrior Met Coal, just so you can see. It's kind of extended. And Arch looks like it's breaking out. This is more in line. It's not really extended. So that's a look at that sector. Kind of look at where things were moving today. Let me bring up my handy little chart here. We looked at Taiwan Semiconductor. That was number one. Volume was up 567%. FMX was number two. Fomento Econ Mexico produces Coca-Cola, and they pulled back to the 10 and 20-day moving average and bounced off of that. Also, semiconductors over in Europe is ASML, had a gap up and raise, closed near its high, up 4.53% today. Ramp, Live Ramp Holdings, data onboarding, huge gap up today. EPS not for 20 days, but look at this move, closed in the middle of its range, up over 11%, up 168% volume. Double Verify moved into the buy area yesterday on pretty good move and volume, and it's got even more volume today, gapped up 2.42%. Summit Materials Got a kind of long base here. Not sure if you'd still call that a handle. Handles are only supposed to dip like 15%. With the base, that looks a little more, but it is up to almost 3% today. We looked at this one yesterday, extended, and it's even more extended today. And then we got Marriott International. Got a nice move out of a little bit of a consolidation type pattern here. And we got Trade Web Markets. Looks like they're breaking out into the breakout zone here. Up nearly 3% today. 53% increase in volume. Surgical. Big gap up today. It looks pretty well extended, but nice volume there. Earnings in 5 days. That's another danger sign. This is another stock that we put on today. Elastic got into the breakout zone and pulled back, and then came back at the close. Pretty good volume. Earnings not for 43 days. Manpower, monolithic power actually, along with the other semiconductors. It's in this area, although it's not typically a semiconductor, but it kind of supports that industry. Pretty good volume, up 4.5%. When you're doing all that work on a computer, you need to take a break and go over to Shake Shack. Shake Shack moved up today, up 3.3%. IDEX Laboratories manufactures diagnostic products service for the veterinarian market. It moved up 1.9%. We did not look at Toyota Motor. We looked at it yesterday, and sure enough, it had a little bit of a pullback, and look at this big gap up 3% today. Got Granger gapping up, closing near its high, up nearly 4% today. German developer of business operations management related software is gapped up and then up 1.68%. In cyber protection, closed near its low. That's not usually what you want to see, but it did move up close to 0.9%. And then this company is supporting construction projects, I believe, in JFK, and they're moving up pretty strong. Look at another one in cyber connection yesterday. Got close to breaking out, and then it broke out of a consolidation right here. Looking at Sentinel, tried to move up and then pulled back. Zscaler tried to move up, pulled back a little bit. Crowd had a big pullback yesterday, but came back today. Crowd is really the leader in this area. And Palo Alto Networks is moving up today, 1.73%. So in our portfolio, just take a look at some things that we subtracted. I had spread option 320 to 330. I closed it down and had 5 shares of this, and sure enough, after the close, they said they're going to beat their estimate. So what I do when it was up like $19, we'll see what it does tomorrow in the open market. It is not always what happens, but we'll see. I added 6 shares. I had 5 shares before, added 1 more, and we'll just see what happens here. We closed out BIRK at a loss right around 45 this morning. Let's see, closed out 100 shares of ELF. I had a short at 370, which kind of protected the loss and closed out one of those. So we have 400 shares now. And I did, in case I was wrong, I put on call option when it was right around 152 or 160. So we'll just kind of see what happens there. There's ESTC, which we said we had added. We closed out the rest of our 4. Had 77 to 85 spread option that we closed out. We closed this one out yesterday, fresh, right around here. We added GCT yesterday, moved up, and then it came right back where it kind of closed yesterday. So we'll just kind of see if this can keep moving on up. On Investors Business Daily top 50 stocks, it's number 1. Not a reason to buy it, but IoT took off. We had 1,100 shares, took off 700 of them on this downdraft. Just wanted to protect the portfolio. Can always add them back if the chart starts looking a little better. Take a look at this on the weekly. Yeah, it's below the 50-day moving average or 10-week average. So anytime something comes below that line, want to just kind of protect it, protect the portfolio. And that's all we kind of did for the portfolio today. Zscaler continues to perform well. Meta had a bounce today, up a little over 2%. Microsoft continues to perform well, up a little over 1%. GitLab, which we added to yesterday, right after the close, up another 2.5% today. We looked at ELF. We'll just continue to watch this. They got their earnings coming up in 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. DBD, which we added, the eyeballed. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but we added this right around 29.70, I believe. Breaking out today, relative strength, has this blue dot here. Had a recent IPO. Got a flat base. This is kind of one of the bases that I really like. And Kava, it's pulling back here a little bit. I was contemplating taking some off, and I decided against it. We'll see if this can clear this area here. It's slightly above it, 45.18, and right now it is 45.47. See if it can break out and move higher, have their earnings in 41 days. And BLTE. Yeah, I believe this is one of the ones that have been in the portfolio longest. We bought it over here in the breakout. I believe it was like around 38, and just kind of holding it and seeing how everything is going. So that's our show for today. Mornings of Michael for information and educational purposes only. Hope everybody has a great day. Keep reaching for your goals and turn in your activities. If there's any financial goals we can help you with, please reach out to us. And this is brought to you for information and educational purposes only. It's up to you to do your own due diligence. Thanks, and have a great day.